All right, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for creating time to catch the latest right here on Sunday Express. It is the 6th day of February, the year 2022, a day when the world was marking the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, coming at a time when experts are raising concern about the COVID-19 pandemic, risking negating the gains made in eradicating the vice. And as the clock is ticking to Kenya's deadline of ending FGM by the year 2022 and the global deadline of ending it by the year 2030, how much ground have we covered, and what will it take for us to achieve a zero mark when it comes to the prevalence rates of female genital mutilation? I'll be having that conversation with Le Seketeti Frank Taniki, a passionate anti-FGM activist who is also a UNFPA Youth Advisory Panel member. I'll be joining him later on right here on our comprehensive news broadcast that begins right now with the top stories. Firm and painful, security operation begins in strife-torn North Rift region. And in politics, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula defend pact with Deputy President William Ruto. And missed target, voter registration exercise ends on a low note. All right, once again, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and I'll be doing this together with Byron Abuli, our sign language interpreter tonight. We are also welcoming you to be a part of this broadcast at KBC Channel 1. Use the hashtag Sunday Express. Now, let's begin straight away. A government-led security operation has kicked off in insecurity-prone areas in the North Rift. The operation covers Baringo, West Pokot, and Turkana counties. A heavy contingent of police drawn from various security forces is currently on the ground to mop up illegal arms in the hands of civilians. Internal Security Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i on Friday said the operation will be firm and painful. Timothy Kipnusu begins our bulletin with this broadcast.
At the home of the late Robert Lokitar in Marigat area of Baringo North, Baringo County, grief and loneliness are evident here. Lokitar, the father of one and a boda operator, was shot dead on Saturday along the Kapedo-Lomelo Road on his way to Lokori while he was on his daily activities.
Hiyo kijana yetu ni yeye, na sisi nategemea yeye kwa peke yake. Na hiyo ni uchungu sana kwa sisi, bado lala kutoka jana. Ile tunasikia uchungu.
Na aliwao kama anaendesha pikipiki, si ati alikuwa anachunga mbuzi ama alikuwa anafanya nini? Alikuwa anasafiri tu kama wasafiri wengine. Lakini sasa hapo kwa wakamuua bure tu hivyo. Hata mimi nasikia uchungu sana. Kisemekana tuko na amani na bado watu wanauawa bure.
And in retaliatory, residents here trained their anger to a bus traveling to Churo Tiati, partially damaging it.
Watu walivunja ile basi sababu wanasikia bado mtu wetu ameoa na bado watu wanapigana kule Lomelo na Kapedo. So sisi kama watu wa Marigat tumekasirika kwa sababu wanaona ni kama si jambo nzuri ambalo kama inaendelea, kwa sababu unaua mtu yetu and then bado mnaendelea kutupiga bado. So ndio watu wakakasirika wakaamua kugonga ile basi.
The spate of killings, cattle theft and destruction of property has seen the government kick off a disarmament exercise in the security-prone counties of Baringo, West Pokot and Turkana.
Hiyo shughuli ya operation ya security, niambia viongozi wanasiasa washirikiane na serikali na wakubaliane, serikali ifanye kazi yake ili kuleta amani Baringo North.
Sisi tunaomba tu hata kama mambo ya KPR kama Matiang'i amesema wataandika mambo ya KPR, watu andike. Operation ikiendelea hata sisi tunasaidia area polepole.
Heavy contingent of police drawn from different forces is on the ground on a security operation to mop up illegal guns in the restive region.
I keep on saying that government should enact a law that requires that anybody who loses his livestock for for reasons of insecurity, those who lose their lives, they must be compensated within a given period of time by the government, so that it compels the government to take the necessary steps to ensure that private property is protected as it is written in our constitution.
The government has warned that the operation will not spare anybody with illegal firearms. Timothy Kipnusu for Sunday Express.
Let's move this forward. President Uhuru Kenyatta has attributed the significant progress in the war against malaria in Africa to a 4-point program implemented by the African Leaders Malaria Alliance, ALMA. The head of state, who spoke in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where he presented last year's ALMA Malaria Progress Report, further lauded African countries for embracing the use of digital tools to strengthen evidence-based accountability and action in the fight against the disease. Purity Museo reports.
During the ongoing 35th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Sunday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said that Africa had made significant progress in the war against malaria in the last 2 years.
When I became the chair of ALMA, I established an ambitious 4-point legacy agenda, and I am pleased with the progress that we have made so far.
The head of state, who spoke when he presented last year's ALMA Malaria Progress Report, further said that isolated digitization and accountability and action scorecards, one of his 4-point agenda against malaria, was an important tool in the campaign against the disease.
Our countries are implementing national scorecard tools, and this includes 40 scorecards for malaria, 29 for reproductive maternal newborn, adolescent and children health, 8 for neglected tropical disease, and 3 for nutrition, and 5 community scorecards.
President Kenyatta pointed out that in 2021, Kenya launched the ALMA Scorecard Hub to enable countries to share national health outcomes and best practices. To boost access to life-saving anti-malaria commodities, the president said countries are deploying mosquito nets and insecticides to address the threat of insecticide resistance.
To eliminate malaria by 2030 as per the AU agenda, we as a continent must scale up our collective efforts. I am glad to report that our countries have heeded to this call. And despite the pandemic of COVID-19, countries have provided strong leadership and did take concerted action to ensure that universal mosquito nets, indoor residual spraying, and seasonal malaria chemo prevention campaigns, which were implemented as planned.
While rallying African governments to invest more in the fight against malaria for the continent to meet its target of eliminating the disease by the year 2030, the president applauded the Global Fund and the U.S. President's Malaria Initiative for their continued support.
Available data shows that African countries account for 96% of global malaria cases, as well as 98% of global malaria deaths. So we are not on track to eliminate malaria by 2030 unless far-reaching strategies are adopted and executed to the letter.
Purity Museo, Sunday Express.
Still focusing on matters health, from Monday, Kenyans will be mandated to subscribe to the National Health Insurance Scheme as the government prepares to roll out the Universal Health Coverage Program across the 47 counties. Through the subsidized Essential Health Package provided by the scheme, Kenyans will have access to healthcare services with less financial strain. As Juni Karisa reports, the government has affirmed its intent to increase its health workforce, erect more health units, as well as provide quality healthcare.
The testimonials of the first phase of the UHC program, rolled out in December 2018 across 4 counties, will provide a roadmap for the government to scale up access to healthcare services countrywide. The reforms at the National Health Insurance Fund will pave way for the government to reduce pocket expenditure from 32% to 20% this year. About 19% of Kenyans are insured by the social health insurance, a number the government hopes to boost through mandatory enforcement. 100%. In a bid to reduce the 140,000 healthcare giver gap, the government will increase current ratio of 10 healthcare workers per 10,000 population to 13 health workers. Consequently, community units within a 5-kilometer radius will increase from 55% to 100% this year.
Tumepanga mpango ambao ni wananchi, si wa wetu wenyewe. Hii ni mpango ya wananchi ambayo watahudumiwa mahospitali na mpango wa National Health Insurance Fund.
Kagwe was speaking in Mombasa ahead of the International Health Workforce Conference to be attended by 1,000 delegates from 24 countries. The health workforce will be benchmarking lessons learned during the pandemic as well as repositioning themselves post-COVID by use of telemedicine.
Are doctors going to use technology to examine patients? Will patients benefit from the use of technology while attending to their patients?
And we need to ensure that as we go into team-based care, the public is not left wanting about who to trust and who does what.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County.
All right, thank you, Janae, for that report. Now on to the voter registration exercise. The second phase of the enhanced voter registration exercise came to a close Sunday, with the registration centres recording low turnout contrary to expectations. A few centres, however, had long queues as Kenyans took advantage of the opportunity to be in the voters' register.
Queues of Kenyans at various voter registration centres could be seen as the exercise entered its last stretch. At the General Post Office near Huduma Center in Nairobi, a number of youth turned up to avoid being locked out.
Leo nimekuja kujitokeza kwa sababu ID yangu ilikuwa imepotea. So this is the only day that is available and also it's the deadline.
Niliongojea nikuja nimalizie hii process. Nichukue kura at least nichague mwenye namhitaji. Siku ya mwisho ndo Wakenya tunakuanga hivyo last minute. So last minute ndo mambo inakuanga sawa. Ndo nikaamua nikuje leo.
The number has been high, people have been coming. So far maybe 70-80.
Naweza sema first phase ndo watu walikuja wengi, lakini hii wiki ya mwisho ndo watu wamekuja wengi.
At the Chief's Office Registration Center in Ngara, Nairobi, the number was dismal.
As by now, our machine reads 39 voters. Phase 1 was at least challenging, but phase 2 is now the number is improving.
The situation was no different at City Primary Voter Registration Center. Most of those who visited the center sought for transfers or checked their registration status.
Compared to the last exercise, watu wamejitokeza kwa wingi. Most of them wakiwa vijana. Wakuconfirm na kutransfer ndio wingi kuliko kujitokeza kujisajili. Lakini tunasema wote tu wamekuwa kikuja.
Nimekuja leo tu niangalie, nihakikishe nitashiriki kwa hiyo kura.
Naamini ya kwamba naweza tumia ID yangu juu sijachukua kura kwenda kuvote. Kukataa kuchukua ni vile niko na ID. Na watu walikuja kutaka kutuandikisha, lakini ukapata wamekuja baada ya 1 month wameenda, na watu wengi kama mimi nategemeanga kibarua na siwezi enda kupanga laini.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was targeting 4.5 million new voters in the second phase of the enhanced mass voter registration exercise. Kamchemenza for Sunday Express.
And well, we do hope that you made it to that list. That's your voice to decide what will happen in the next cycle of leadership, the coming 5 years. Now, let's take you into the education sector. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says the construction of classrooms to anchor the competency-based curriculum for junior secondary classes is almost 66% complete. The CS said over 6,470 classrooms will be constructed across the country in the first phase, adding that 572 are ready and are waiting commissioning.
At the Aldina Vizram High School in Mombasa County, where he opened a classroom for competence-based curriculum, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha noted the estimated budget for the construction of a classroom has reduced from 1.26 million shillings to 788,000 shillings per school. He stated that the construction of the classrooms across the country has reached 66% completion rate and commended education stakeholders for their efforts to ensure successful anchoring of the CBC program.
Under the direction of His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who is our president, we reduced the price of each classroom from 1.26 million shillings to 788,000, including tax. The government intends to construct 6,470 classrooms in this first phase. The very first completed one I commissioned on the 13th of last month. Now we have about 572 that are complete, waiting to be commissioned.
He said that despite resistance from quarters to CBC, there was no going back and that the curriculum would be successfully implemented.
So no particular force can say, no, we are not going to implement CBC unless the courts pronounce themselves in it. And the last time I checked, I haven't had that happen. And the last time I checked, I think I've become more popular with mothers of children who are doing CBC. I hope some of you are here so that I can feel at home. Because if you have children who are doing CBC and the ones who are not doing CBC, you will definitely see the difference in the children, isn't it?
At the same time, he commended education stakeholders for restoring calm in schools in the third term. Magoha also warned teachers against administering corporal punishment, saying it is still banned in schools.
We know that sometimes they threaten you. That one is a criminal act. Why are you asking me? Anybody who lifts his hand to beat a child under the current laws should be arrested by the police. Unless it was in self-defense.
For Sunday Express from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
All right, that report now takes us to our first break here on Sunday Express. Please don't go too far. We still have a lot lined up for you coming up ahead. I'll be having a conversation with Leseketeti Frank Taniki. He's a passionate anti-FGM activist. We are talking about the progress we have made as a country in eradicating female genital mutilation and what change of strategy is needed for us to attain a zero mark when it comes to the prevalence rates. That coming up and much more on the other side of the break.
Beacon Furnitures Limited. We're local manufacturers of quality office furniture, dealers in quality office equipment like fireproof safes and cabinets. Our automated state-of-the-art factories at Henna House along Enterprise Road in Nairobi's industrial area. Our showroom is at Uniafrica House, Koinange Lane off Koinange Street. We are passionate believers in locally manufactured goods. When you and I buy locally made furniture, we impact on the livelihoods of our brothers and sisters. For orders, visit our showroom at Uniafrica House, Koinange Lane off Koinange Street. Beacon Furnitures Limited. Jenga Kenya, tupate ajira.
Ni watu wachache pekee wanafahamu uzito wa maamuzi kama yako.
Yani mimi nikiwaita nyinyi huwa ni viziwi amsikii au katika jeuri zenu. Sasa huku umekuja kutafuta nini? Hatukuhitaji hapa.
Kijana sikiliza, mimi sizungumzi na wewe.
Sasa utajitenga vipi na watu? Na hapa ndo nyumbani kwako hapa.
Ni heri nikae msituni.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
This Monday on Good Morning Kenya.
You are optimistic you're going to get another term?
Yes, why not? I've done well. The people know that I've done well.
We drop down to the county of Tana River, the land of many histories dating back to the pre-colonial era, and have one with the county governor, His Excellency Godana Dado.
I'm the only ODM. Much as I'm the governor.
You're the only ODM.
I'm the only ODM person in town.
This Monday from 7:30 a.m. on Good Morning Kenya.
Firm and painful security. Right, we do apologize for that slight mix-up. And on this second part, we take you into the world of politics and the One Kenya Alliance principles. And Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has refuted claims that the alliance has placed conditions and irreducible minimums for joining Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja. Kalonzo says Oka principles are leaders of integrity and cannot take such a route. The United Democratic Party leader Cyrus Jirongo, a co-principal in Oka, was quoted saying the formation will have structured talks with Azimio before any merger.
One of the core principles of One Kenya Alliance, Cyrus Jirongo, on joining Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja.
We want to discuss with our friends in Azimio, but it must be in a structured manner.
But Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be reading a different script from his fellow principal in Oka over the said conditions for them to join the Odinga's outfit.
Oka imetoa masharti fulani kabla ya kuungana na Azimio. Unanisikia? Mimi sio mtu wa kutaka chochote kutoka kwa mtu yeyote. Mambo ya serikali ni kunyakua. Uongozi unapeanwa na Mungu.
The Wiper leader said Oka is growing strong and maintain his stand that other formations should join Oka.
Sisi tunakaribisha wengine wanaotaka, tunawakaribisha wajiunge na Oka na sio Oka kumeza na mtu yeyote.
Kalonzo at the same time challenged the office of the Attorney General to relook the shelf proposal on a law to regulate the registration of churches in the country. Speaking at the Redeemed Gospel Church in Ouma, where he attended Sunday service, Kalonzo claims the law infringes on the right of worship as enshrined in the 2010 Constitution.
Na kwa hivyo mimi nashangaa afisi ya Registrar General, afisi ya Attorney General, wakili mkuu wa serikali kama hawajasoma bado katiba. Katiba inasema hata kama unataka kuabudu Mungu ukienda juu chini, it is your constitutional right. Kwa hivyo najiuliza, ni kwa nini bado makanisa wanakatazwa kusajiliwa?
Now, a section of political leaders has come out to defend President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying he is at liberty to front a candidate in the August election. The leader said that as the outgoing president, he has to ensure there is a smooth transition of power upon his exit.
At the Christian New Hope Ministries in Githurai, Nairobi, leaders accompanying Nairobi governorship candidate Tim Wanyonyi attended church service as they spread the Azimio la Umoja agenda. The leaders castigated those saying the president should not have a say in who should be the next president.
Na kwa sababu hawakupata, sasa wanasema baba amekuwa project ya Uhuru. Namna gani?
Na Uhuru Kenyatta vile Dennis amemwambia yeye anasalia Mkenya, hata yeye siku ya kupiga kura ataenda apewe ballot ambaye itakuwa na wagombezi wote na pia yeye atafanya uchaguzi wake.
Uhuru Kenyatta must also express himself. Lazima aambie wa Kenya ana manage hiyo mambo namna gani.
Meanwhile, ODM Party Director of Elections Junet Mohamed has said they are likely to conduct joint party primaries under the Azimio coalition.
We will come up with mechanisms and formulas to do nominations together, to do, now that we are partners, we will be doing things together.
Because we are waiting for the laws to be enacted, so that is now through Parliament and through Senate.
And State House Chief of Staff Nzioka Waita has launched his campaign for Machakos governor seat. Speaking after attending a church service at Kaani ABC in Machakos constituency, Waita announced that he would retire from civil service on February 8th to officially join politics.
Nataka wanieleze, mimi sitaki kwenda kuwaambia. Masaa ni mapema kuuza sera, mapema sana. Sababu ni vizuri tusikize na tusikizane, ndio tupange mikakati ya county pamoja na wananchi.
KRP
kuza kazi, kuza viwanda, linda nchi. Elsewhere, Kenya Reform Party has unveiled its economic agenda, urging Kenyans to separate wheat from the chaff. The party, which rebranded from Diligence Development Alliance, says its main agenda is to pursue equality in economic and social development for all Kenyans.
We intend to engage the use of the mechanical gear in every county, every constituency, and every ward to create full employment for all Kenyans.
Our ultimate aim is to create an economic atmosphere that will lead to higher incomes, that will enable Kenyans to enjoy the basic human needs of modern life, that will in turn provide the means of our country to grow into a fully fledged development democracy.
And Nairobi senatorial candidate Milton Lucheri has launched his Nairobi senatorship bid. Lucheri says his main legislative agenda, if given the mantle, will be job creation and healthcare.
To the Senate, I will make sure that we legislate. We have a particular percentage of the national budget to be channeled towards SME seed fund for the county.
Ruth Wamboi for Sunday Express.
Thank you, Ruth, for that report. Now, still on politics, Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi and his Ford Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula have defended their pact with Deputy President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance, claiming their previous engagements with ODM chief Raila Odinga have borne no fruits. The Kenya Kwanza co-principals called for democratic elections. Wycliffe Okech has that report.
In what was an apparent homecoming for the Amani National Congress party leader Musalia Mudavadi in Vihiga since the coming together of the ANC, Ford Kenya and UDA parties, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance kickstarted its week-long charm offensive mission at St. Luke's Anglican Church, Mwisho in Vihiga County, where the alliance sought to solidify its grip in the region.
Sisi tunataka kuhakikishia jamii yetu, don't look back. Listen to your leaders, believe in your leaders, and work with your leaders.
Munatia muhuri ya muungano. Munasema William Ruto afanye na Musalia na Weta na huyu muungwana wenu tufanye pamoja.
From St. Luke's, the convoy hit the road running with the stopovers at Luanda, Majengo, Hamisi, Serem and Shamakoko towns. Here, the leaders called upon area residents to support the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, promising changes in the education and agriculture sectors.
Tunajua iko jambo linawakera wazazi, walimu na hata wanafunzi, inaitwa CBC, mfumo wa elimu. Hiyo tukiingia mwezi wa 8 tunaiondoa, tunabadilisha ili tumpatie ile mfumo mnaelewa.
Sisi wote tumeungana kwa sababu tunataka sio Musalia apate ama William Ruto apate ama Weta apate. Tunataka kupanga mambo ya wananchi kwanza. na ndio tunasema Kenya.
Mudavadi and Wetangula used the opportunity to answer critics of the alliance with Deputy President William Ruto, claiming their association with ODM leader Raila Odinga ended in betrayal.
Mzee wetu jirani hapa tumemsaidia mara mingi, mnajua. 2013 Weta alisimama na yeye, kweli rongo? 2017 Weta alisimama na yeye, Musalia alisimama na yeye, kweli rongo? Asante niliyopata ni kuchapa teke na kuambia toka kabisa.
Mimi nimesikia watu wakisema tunataka tuwe kwa serikali. Mimi sikatai. Lakini mimi nasema tunataka tuunde serikali. Kuna wale wanataka kuwa kwa serikali na wale wanataka kuunda serikali. Kuna tofauti. Tunataka tuulize Wakenya wetu ama watu wetu wa hapa Ingo. Munataka muingie kwa serikali, what is your entry point?
The alliance ended the day-long campaign trail with a rally at Mbale Municipal Club where politics of succession took center stage, telling the president to keep off.
Tumekuja hapa ndio wale watu wako Nairobi wakipanga ule atakuwa rais kwa mahoteli na kwa mikahawa na kwa maofisi, tuwaambie tukiwa Vihiga ya kwamba atupangwingwi. Tunataka tuambie President Uhuru Kenyatta, you cannot succeed yourself. Hata wale wanaunga mkono mwana kitendawili, wale wanamsukuma saa hizi, the sponsors of the Kitendawili project, they know very well that Kitendawili has no capacity to run the affairs of this country. They want to run Kenya from behind, and we are telling them there is no way Kenyans can accept shadowy characters to run their country.
From Vihiga County, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance will be heading to Busia County on Monday and Kakamega County on Tuesday as part of an enhanced campaign to rally the Western Kenya region behind the alliance ahead of August 9 general polls. Wycliffe Okech, Sunday Express from Vihiga County.
Wycliffe there reporting to us from Kisumu County. Now wrapping up politics, let's focus on something that we feature right here every week. On this week's episode of The Process, we focus on refining harvested honey. Jackie Wambiru takes us through this. Have a look.
In recent past, there have been reported cases of highly adulterated honey that could have serious health implications as well as economic consequences. Well, this week on The Process, we take a look at how honey is processed. A fresh batch of harvested honey is received from farmers and various suppliers.
We do some tests for if there is any adulteration in the honey.
Here, the honey is taken through a number of quality assurance tests that check, among other things, the presence of commercial sugars, moisture content, color.
So when it turns red like this, your honey is not good for human consumption, and we reject that. But if it retains its color like this is good. And also, we have our refractometer. We do check the moisture content. And the required moisture content is between 13 and 22%.
Depending on where and how the honey was harvested, it contains varied properties.
The reason why we have different colors of honey depends with the vegetation where the bees foraged the nectar and pollen. Also, what can determine the color is mode of harvesting. If you harvest poorly, poor processing methods can affect the taste of the honey and the color. If you over smoke, maybe your honey could have been light, it will be darker. But the main reason for color in the honey is where the bees forage the pollen and the nectar and the region. We can have black, we can have white. It depends on the vegetation and the season of harvest.
Once the testing is done, the honey is then weighed in preparation for the warming process.
When you finish your processing in the warmer, it cuts some certain kgs because of the dirty present in the honey. So the reason is that you should know, when doing your records, you should know how many kgs you have lost from the warmer, and during packaging, you have to lose also.
The honey is then transferred into a warmer where it is heated up for 4 hours at certain temperatures between 40 to 45 degrees centigrade.
The purpose for warming the honey is to lengthen the crystallization process. And crystallization it occurs when the glucose content is higher than the fructose.
After warming, the honey undergoes the filtration or sieving process.
After the 4 hours, we filter or we sieve to separate the molten wax, impurities, the dead bees present in the honey. Then we get the pure honey, which is clean for human consumption. Then we allow it to settle.
It then undergoes the cooling process where it is allowed to settle for a period of 48 to 72 hours.
During cooling period, the top cream settles at the top, while some dust settles at the bottom. So we allow it to settle before packaging and remove the top cream before packaging.
After cooling, the honey is now ready for packaging. After packaging, labeling, sealing takes place, rendering the product ready for distribution. There you have it, refined honey. Jackie Wambiru, The Process.
All right, there you have it. The Process coming to you every Sunday, just taking you into different sectors to learn and know how different things work and how they are made. Now, I want to take you to the COVID numbers in the country. 53 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 24 hours from a sample size of 4,054, representing a 1.25 positivity rate. The youngest is a 9-month-old infant, while the oldest is 89 years. Unfortunately, 14 patients succumbed to the disease, bringing the cumulative fatalities to 5,621. Only 6.2 million Kenyans are fully vaccinated against the government's target of 27 million. A total of 13.6 million vaccines have been administered since the rollout in March last year. 187,517 booster shots have been administered between Friday and Saturday, and 274 patients recovered from the disease, with the total recoveries now standing at 295,971. Globally, there have been 394 million confirmed cases of COVID-19. 5.8 million deaths have been reported to the World Health Organization. And on that note, we take a very short break. We'll be back with much more. I'll be taking you into the world of sports shortly, so do stay with us.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of Parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of Parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
This Monday on Good Morning Kenya. You're optimistic you're going to get another term?
Yes, why not? I have done well. The people know that I have done well.
We drop down to the county of Tana River, the land of many histories dating back to the pre-colonial era, and have a one-on-one with the county governor, His Excellency Godana Dado.
I'm the only ODM, much as I'm the governor.
You're the only ODM?
I'm the only ODM person in Tana.
For this and more, join us this Monday from 7:30 a.m. on Good Morning Kenya.
Ni watu wachache pekee wanafahamu uzito wa maamuzi kama yako.
Yani mimi nikiwaita nyinyi huwa ni viziwi amsikii au katika jeuri zenu.
Sasa huku umekuja kutafuta nini? Hatukuhitaji hapa.
Kijana sikiliza, mimi sizungumzi na wewe.
Sasa utajitenga vipi na watu? Na hapa ndo nyumbani kwako hapa.
Ni heri nikae msituni.
All right, welcome back. I beg your pardon and thank you for staying with us. In a bit, we will be focusing on the journey to eradicating female genital mutilation in the country. I'll be engaging Le Secretary Frank Taniki. I will be joining him on the other side shortly to have that conversation. But first, let me run you through the latest in the world of sports. Kenya Pipeline continued with their impressive show at the second leg of the Volleyball League playoffs in Mombasa, seeing off KDF in 3 straight sets. Pipeline were dominant in the first set, winning 25-18 before struggling in the second to narrowly edge their opponents 25-21. They easily won the third quarter 25-16 for the 3 sets win. In the other match played, KCB defeated Vihiga in 3 sets of 25-18, 25-21 and 25-14. All right, moving on, 20 karate players took part in the opening round of a series of clinics set to be held this year in preparation for local and international events on the 2022 calendar. Meanwhile, 36 county officials are attending the netball symposium currently ongoing in Kisumu County.
The karate clinic held in Nairobi was organized by the Japanese Karate Association, and it is one of the many clinics to be held in various counties. The 20 players, 13 men and 7 ladies, are also expected to attend the second round to be held in Kakamega next month, before heading to Mombasa and Nakuru in April and June respectively. The Japanese Karate Association is holding the clinics to gauge a team that will compete in an international invitational tournament in South Africa in September. Meanwhile, county officials and 6 players are attending the netball symposium ongoing in Kisumu. The aim of the symposium is to train netball leaders within the counties, ensure that the Sports Act is followed in the counties by registering clubs, and also train counties on good administration and governance.
They talked on various topics. They talked on anti-doping, drug and substance abuse. They also talked on good governance, the Sports Act, and they also talked about rules and regulations that govern sports in this country. The workshop was well attended.
Besides the county officials, players and stakeholders also attended the symposium.
And the Koth Biro Football Cup final was not completed after being disrupted by fans on the pitch. However, Dortmund FC and Leeds rivals in the final were tied on a goalless draw. The final was attended by former Gatanga Member of Parliament Peter Kenneth and Nairobi Governor aspirant Peter Ngatia. And now on to something I know most of you are waiting for. Egypt will face Senegal in the Africa Cup of Nations final tonight in a match to be refereed by South African Victor Gomez at 10 p.m. Egypt will be hunting an 8th continental title, while their opponent Senegal will be looking for a first African title, having missed out on the 2019 Cup after losing the final to Algeria. Host Cameroon finished 3rd after coming from 3 goals down to level 3-3 against Burkina Faso before winning a penalty shootout last night.
Cameroon came from 3 goals down to level 3-3 against Burkina Faso before securing a 3rd place from the spot. Burkina Faso were 3-0 up through Steven Yago's poked finish, Andre Onana's own goal and Jibril Otara's header. But Cameroon hit back via Stefan Bahoken and skipper Vincent Abubakar, who netted twice in the last 5 minutes. No extra time meant the match went to penalties with Blati Toure missing. It was a disappointing end for Burkina Faso, who looked in total control after 49 minutes, but 5-time winners Cameroon responded in superb fashion before converting all 5 of their spot kicks.
All right, welcome back on this other side after the sports. We now get straight into our interview for Sunday Express tonight, being the 6th day of February, the year 2022. On a day like this in 2012, the United Nations General Assembly actually set it aside and decided to brand it the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. All focus is on efforts to eradicate this particular vice, and we want to talk about it and look at our scorecard as a country. What have we achieved? What is left? And what will it take for us to be able to achieve the zero mark when it comes to the prevalence rates on female genital mutilation? And also we'll throw in there the role of the youth and the men in eradicating this particular vice. Of course, I'll be having this conversation with my guest tonight. He's already in studio, Frank Leseketeti Taniki. Frank is an anti-FGM activist, and Frank also is the UNFPA Youth Advisory Panel member, one of the members there. Thank you so much, Frank, for creating time for us.
Thank you, Serfine.
All right, probably it would be a good point to start, by you just telling us a little bit about yourself and your interaction with this journey to eradicating female genital mutilation. Long time ago, it was not very common, this message coming from the men in the society. Just tell us a bit about where you drew your passion from.
Okay, thank you so much, Safi. My name is Frank Leseketeti. I'm coming from Samburu County. And I'm a scholar. I schooled in Egerton University, pursued bachelor's degree of procurement and logistic management. And now, currently, I'm working with an NGO. We are focusing on girls improving resilience through a program run by an organization called Merit Integrated Development Program. And I'm also a youth advisory panel member, UNFPA. We are just a group of 19 members in the whole country. And the focus is we want to make sure that by end of 2030, we have a free world from genital mutilation. Actually, I also own a CBO, which I started as we are focusing on how best can young people be involved in the eradication of FGM. So I thought of why can't we have a platform where youth can have to talk their issues, how they can address their issues in ending FGM. And Ngopira Foundation is the CBO. We are working in Samburu County. Most part of it is Samburu West. And the journey, when I started my journey is back when I was in school. People don't talk about FGM in our community. But actually, after realizing that it was a vice that is not that pleasant to our people, I decided to join other people in saying no to this fight because...
So sorry to cut you short, but I'm trying to look at that journey. Was there a personal experience or somebody who was close to you? Or what is it that really drew you to this journey to end female genital mutilation?
Actually, when you go to Samburu County, almost everybody has undergone FGM. And particularly when what now led me to change the conversation is that the trends which people are taking in addressing FGM is changing. After now the government have taken an action that this thing has to end, people now are cutting girls when they are so innocent. They don't even know their rights. And particularly if you come and observe the cultures, it's not all about the culture. Because people, when you say FGM is wrong, people will bring now, what about the culture? Of which, if you go and see, apart from the culture, what benefit do FGM has to our people? It really doesn't have any impactful mark that it adds to any woman.
Okay, I'll want you to talk to us about these new trends, these emerging trends in female genital mutilation, but that will come later. Just take us through some of the impacts of female genital mutilation. When we term it a human right violation, what do we really mean? What is the severe damage that female genital mutilation is causing to the lives of these girls and women from an activist perspective?
Okay, the challenges that women face when they undergo FGM, one is they have that severe labor when giving birth, very prolonged kind of labor. And we also see children dying, the babies dying and the mother also passing away because of the... And we also see that girls are not... The uncircumcised ladies in some of the communities are not accepted. They consider FGM is a form of purity, which is not. And actually, those are the few things that we can say. We need to have a community where women, whether undergone FGM or not, they need to be considered as human beings. It's typically a violation of right, because most ladies in our communities are undergoing their vice simply because to own that dignity, people to accept them, of which it should not be like that. That's totally a violation of right, human right. So we need to have a free world in order for us to make sure that everybody is considered human being, whether you have undergone FGM or not. Another thing is trauma. The ladies who have undergone FGM, let's say in the urban cities, they cannot say I've undergone FGM simply because what will people think about me? Yeah. Another thing is that they say this thing, after you undergoing FGM, you reduce some kind of sexuality. You don't have that eagerness of you having the sex, of which it's not.
It's not true?
It's not true. Yeah.
All right. But do the practicing communities know this? Talk to us about the level of awareness, because there seems to be a gap in knowledge when it comes to the dangers of female genital mutilation. Do they know this?
Actually, we cannot say they don't know this.
They do.
But the larger percentage, like let's take example of Samburu County, the higher percentage of people are illiterate. So the information being passed about now, FGM, they have very little information. What needs to be done is we need to have several kind of dialogue with community members. We need even to translate the Kenyan's law into the layman's language they understand. Simply because many people are being facing laws which they don't know even. But currently in 2021, 2022, I think the awareness creation for FGM is very high. Because like last year, March 5th, Samburu County made a declaration that the elders of this community decided that we need to stop FGM. Council of Elders said that we need to stop FGM. So I think the community have information. So the best thing that we need to do is to do more awareness. We cannot say it's over. We need to talk this conversation each and every. It needs
to continue. Yeah. All right, no wonder we are having this program. But, as we mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, if you look at our Kenyan situation, and if you were to rate us in terms of the progress that we have made, what are those achievements that you would celebrate as an activist? And what are some of the things that you feel also we need to do just so that we can keep on eradicating this virus progressively?
The first thing that I can rate our country is, one, seeing our president joining other nations, saying that we need to end FGM is really a big mark. And also like counting cultural leaders coming on board saying that we also need to end FGM is also another mark. And having men like now, me and the rest, is also another mark.
Joining in the race, yeah.
So actually we are somewhere. We are not done with the conversation, but we are somewhere. Maybe we need to have many other engagement. We need to have many other young men to come on board, speak like what I'm doing, and let them feel free, because now people don't want FGM. It's just that they can't speak. Many people know that FGM is bad, but they can't speak in front of people.
Why? What is the fueling factor for that silence?
The reason is, what will the communities think about me? Yeah, this is a cultural right. What will they say about me? Am I going against my cultural right? Of which, if a culture is wrong, it's wrong. We can't make it right by keeping quiet. So the best thing is like, we need many young people, especially men, because FGM is not men's story, it's not women's story. Yeah.
All right. I had said that we're also going to talk about the role of men and the youth in this particular journey. Probably just to highlight, as somebody who has been in that space, what do you think is the difference that men would bring in the FGM conversation if they were to fully take the mantle?
I think the first thing that will change if men can take the mantle is that most of the community, men are considered as the decision makers. And the moment they give that directive of like, we need to stop it, community will stop it. what is making many other people to shy away from the conversation is that they don't have that mandate because the heads has not spoken. Like since the declaration, the Samburu declaration that was done in Kisima, nowadays people talk freely about FGM because the conversation has been made and the rule has been given out. We can speak about it. Another thing that men, like youth, can play in ending FGM, I think the best thing that we are all over on social media. We are busy typing. We're just like, every time we are in social media. We need to come out, use our energies, because we are still energetic, not like these old men. We can walk caravan, we can conduct everything, saying that we need to end FGM. Because at the end of the day, all marry these uncut girls. It is us men. The moment they just left uncut and they know somebody will marry them, then it's become a problem. Every girl there will go cut themselves for them to be considered for marriage. So it's better we speak it out that we as men, we can marry these uncut ladies. Then ladies will stop being cut because they know someone will
being
marry.
Coerced into, undergoing female genital. We've run out of time for this conversation, unfortunately, Frank, but I want to give you a chance in 1 minute just to give us your parting shot as we mark this year's, International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. What's the way forward? How do we attain the zero mark, practically speaking?
The zero mark can be attained.
Yes.
If only everybody has to come out say that FGM is not good. It's not that we keep FGM, that it is not good in ourselves, the inner us, but we don't speak it out. The moment we speak it out, everybody will be on board saying that this thing is wrong. Another thing is that we also need to engage in other kinds of strategies. It's not just only speaking. We need to employ other many strategies on ending this thing. Use of social media. We can have community outreaches. We can even have strength of organization, trickle-down structures, reaching to the village levels of our community-based organization. Uko chini kabisa. The moment we reach the people who are conducting FGM, that's the only way we can say that we will attain FGM. The moment we'll be talking in boardrooms, the moment we'll be sharing on media.
In big hotels in the city.
Yeah, those things will not work. We need to work with the people who are practicing this thing. We need to identify those people who are cutting those girls. We need to transform them to better cutters, transform kind of cutters, not just like what they are doing. Yeah, we also need to partner with other people because we have many partners who are working to end FGM, but everybody is working on his own field. We need to come on board, work together, because togetherness is what will make us grow.
All right, Frank, thank you so much for creating time. Of course, when we're having such conversations, we cannot complete in one setting. And like you said, the conversation needs to continue even past this. I've been engaging Frank Taniki Lesekiteti. He's a UNFPA Youth Advisory Panel member and also an anti-FGM activist. We have been talking about how much ground we have covered as a country in eradicating female genital mutilation on this International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and thank you so much for watching Sunday Express tonight. Tomorrow on Good Morning Kenya, the guest will be the governor of Tana River County. If you want to know what flows in Tana River, that's an interview that you do not want to miss. Victor Olo will be hosting him right here on KBC Channel 1. Have a good night and God bless.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya mwanzo mpya, bonyeza *811*815#.
Usikae hapo na kujihurumia eti kwa sababu ulikosea ama ulianguka. Maisha wakati mwingine utapata umeanguka ama umekosea. Pata mafunzo pale. Unapopata mafunzo, inuka tena, kung'uta mavumbi, songa mbele. Yaliyopita jamani, si ndwele, ganga yajayo, maana kuna nguvu katika mwanzo mpya.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya mwanzo mpya, bonyeza *811*815#. *811*815#.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.